So why is homesteading so enticing? Because really, when you think about it, by today's standards, it just doesn't make sense. But I think it's enticing because the food industry plays a big role in it. Hi, I'm Katie, and if you're looking to be a beginner homesteader, then hit that subscribe button because I cover all of that on my channel and more. It doesn't make sense that homesteading would be enticing because really when you think about it, we live in a world where everything is at our convenience, or mostly everything. You have every reason to want to make money, whether it's traveling or buying fancy things, etc., or even just having that career that is really pushed in our face a lot. There's so many reasons to not be attracted to homesteading. And homesteading itself, it's hard work and it's not an overnight process. So the question is, why? And just a little disclaimer, I am a beginner homesteader myself, so I'm just saying this from my point of view. But like I said in the intro, I think the food industry plays a really big part in this. And because I have so much to say about this topic of why homesteading is enticing, I've decided to split this up into different episodes. It's a 6-episode series. If you're interested in wanting to find out the other episodes that I plan on creating, I will put that below in the description, so check that out. And make sure you hit the subscribe button and bell to be notified if you do want to watch any of those other ones, so that way you are notified right away. This is the second one in this series, and I think the reason why the food industry plays such a big part is because people are seeing it in the same kind of lens that I'm seeing it through. And social media is actually a great tool for this, but it also is a double-edged sword. I swear every week it feels like there's a new food that's actually bad for you or a new life-changing diet. So you really have to filter through what is good and what's not. And one of the ways that I like to do this, I kind of use the what came first, the chicken or the egg scenario. So to give an example, bread has been around a lot longer than obesity. So bread is not the problem. What we're doing to the bread, definitely the problem, but bread done the right way is not the problem. The problem is the softeners and the toxic ingredients and what we're spraying the wheat with and stripping it of its nutrients just to add synthetic nutrients back in and enrich it. That is the problem. And for all practical purposes, I would say most people are sick, or at least not healthy, physically, mentally, emotionally. And I know food isn't the only cause for concern or cause of the problem, but it's definitely a big part of it. And for me, this is why homesteading is so enticing, because you or I have more control over the food being served on our dinner tables. We see how we produce our fruits and vegetables. And if you have livestock, you know exactly what they're eating. You don't have to worry about added hormones just to keep the livestock alive because the living conditions are so poor. You don't have to worry about different chemicals being sprayed on your produce. You don't have to worry about that kind of stuff because you're doing it yourself. And that kind of, I hate to use the word control, but that kind of control means a lot considering the health problems that we have. It's bad enough we have to worry about the containers that the food comes in, whether it's plastic, aluminum, silicone, you name it. And yes, silicone. I definitely jumped on that bandwagon, but after having experienced the taste of silicone in food, especially the big one for me was when I froze raw milk and then drank it after. It was absolutely disgusting. It tasted like silicone. It definitely puts a new light on this is leaching into the food. So what other packaging is leaching into the food that's already contaminated with so many other stuff? And to add to it, I think a lot of people don't realize that your food kind of comes all from the same source. So like on a small scale, we'll take a local grocery shop. They might have a potato salad and you might just naturally think that it's homemade, but that's not always the case. They might get a shipment in of bulk potato salad. They just keep the extra in the back. And that specific company that sells them the potato salad that they have out in the deli also might be at the deli that's next door. So it's really all the same kind of food, or it's all derived from the same place. And if that's the case on a small scale, what about the larger scale? Like, I don't know about you, but sometimes it's so upsetting. You find this brand that you think you can trust that is organic and supposedly all natural, and you find out the owner of that company also owns so many others that aren't health-based. So you have to wonder, is this a conflict of interest? But I digress. Besides those points, there is something to be said about the freshness of the produce. Like, I just had a cucumber the other day, and when I was eating it with some balsamic hummus, I was like, wow, like, this is probably the crunchiest cucumber that I've ever had. And I was like, well, could it be because it is a pickling cucumber? I'd like to think that variety is probably a little crunchier than some of the other varieties. But then I was like, no, it's probably because I picked it today. It was fresh. It's the crunchiest that it's ever going to be. And you can't replace that. There's nothing you can do to replace that with produce that's been picked days, weeks ago. And don't even get me started on a fresh homegrown tomato with a little salt and pepper. So to summarize, homesteading is so enticing for the idea that you have more control over your food. And once you start going down that rabbit hole, you just keep going. Then you go into, if you don't have cows, getting raw milk from a local farmer, or picking up bulk pantry staples like wheat berries from Azure, and so on and so forth. Dreaming about the garden bed that you are hoping to do next year to really expand your garden, which is something that I personally dreaming about because my husband and I are building, and we will have a lot more space for a garden. So very excited about that. But that is all I have for you today. Comment below if there's any particular area of food that you really feel that is what entices you about homesteading. But until next time, I will see you then. Bye.